Hi everyone. So today I kind of want to drink tea and talk to you about the conversation that has been surrounding me recently, and it's making me, giving me this calling to share what I think, how I perceive, because it's really relevant for the time that we live in right now. So recently, around my orbits, I do hear a lot of people talking, how they use AI agent, how they are learning opening claw and many things to, um, you know, be relevant, in this next AI era. And to me, I just feel that it's really artificial. It's really strange phenomena that we are put into this gamification that a lot of people actually do not realize. I feel that there is a lot of drive about learning AI tools, about wanting to be an expert in this field, to feel relevant, yes, but that relevant is rooted in fear. That relevant is rooted in, in a very scary mindset instead of love and excitement, and knowing that that is a true calling from within, right? I do think there are people who are really made for this, who really love to be on a computer all the time, to be geeky about things. But I do think this next era, the AI era, it's really trying to, giving us the challenge at the time, reawaken us to what's most important for humanity. And this is why I felt that it is actually ever so much more important to think about, well, I need to ritualistically, I don't know if that's a word like that, but I do feel like I really do need a ritual to slow down, to really tap in and understand what's my calling, what's my personal calling as a person, and you in this brief life experience. Because when we think of, even for me, when I think about like AI and everything, sometimes I also do get this unsettling feeling that I'm behind, and it's not good for me. But when I try to calm down and when I try to really have an inner conversation, I do feel like, no, I actually need to know what's my energetic, what's me, what's my unique strength, and what am I interested in this lifetime, in this experience, because ultimately those are the things that makes me complete, makes me happy. And if I close my eyes anytime, I want to know, I want to feel that I have done the things I wanted to do, not out of fear, but actually it's something that's been clear. I have my inner conversation and I executed it. And this is something I really, really wanted to communicate. Yeah, I think ever since social media, the internet is not even that apparent, but ever since social media came to our life, I just felt that we are so consumed. Our brain is so consumed. There is a bigger force that is trying to use different strategies to preoccupy our mental space, so that we have no time to think about things, and we just rush into different things. And for me, through creating rituals to slow down, dedicated myself to micro goals, from meditating 5 minutes every day to exercising more, and just really trying to create activities in my life that allowing me to be with myself, that is interesting, that I understand why I do this, that I understand that slowing down, being with myself, and drinking tea even, it's marching step forward. It's doing something important. It's equally important as going to sleep early, just like Brian Johnson said. You know, I think it's a moment to awaken what's in your weekly calendar, to awaken to the fact that slowness, it's actually marching forwards with more clarity, and we need to tap into that. We need to really use that as a tool to understand how we innovate, to understand how we create fulfillments and love for ourselves, to let our inner child know that we are capable. We are not just trying to think about survival all the time. We understood how to approach challenges in life. And that's also what I want to believe, why we are here, to, you know, experience this human life. You know, it's easy to say, but it might be very hard for a lot of people to rewire, to rethink and act, and importantly to act the way you think. And that's because we are so conditioned. And it's really important to understand that there is a bigger force that's been there that conditions you, including the phone that I'm filming with right now. Therefore, you need to be gentle with yourself. You need to understand how the brain actually works. And by understanding that, I think, you know, you can have more clarities. And personally, having a Chinese Kung Fu Cha ritual for me on a daily basis, it's at first it can be, you know, feeling like, oh, I'm pushing myself to do something that is unusual. I just want to scroll on my phone instead, you know, each morning. But since making myself to sit in front of a beautiful object and being slow, drinking tea, doing my meditation, experiencing life, because life is all about, you know, experience, right? We can have anything, but eventually they are going to leave. So in the end, I realized it's really just experience. And so how do you realize that it's really about creating that ritual, that system that counters the bigger force, and that it's so important. It's even more important than your first task, than your email, than your whatever that is important to you for money making. You know, even sometimes when you feel that there is your brain is too powerful, there's no way. But the funny thing is that once you do something repetitively, it really does compound, and everything is just easier and easier over time. And that's why, to me, you know, having something you do that is fun to do, it's more incentivizing than just trying to get straight into meditation right away. So find and discover whatever that is for you that enable you to be with yourself. That's not about processing anything, that is mostly about being present with yourself, being really, really present without too much thoughts coming in and out. And it can be very hard, but for some people it might be just, you know, doing daily exercise. For others like me, I like to drink tea and then meditate and then do exercise. But find your rhythm, your ritual that works for you. To me, it's so important. Yeah, I strongly believe the more we tap into ourselves without distraction and dedicated those time, regimentedly every day, we can develop that inner clarity to see through everything that is around the next AI, the chaotic changing world, how money really works in this world, and understand what's most precious. And only you, when you are really happy and become happier, can you then make people around you feel good, So really take care of yourself. Don't feel like it's a punishment to sit down doing nothing, because it's marching forward. I want you to remember it's marching forward the right way. Because it's unpopular, it doesn't mean it's not truth. And like ancient Chinese people, right? We went into from hunting to farming, and at some point we invented the lunar calendar just by observing the sun. Back then, there is no books for that. There's no ChatGPT. There's no internet to Google and scrape information to get an answer from. You get answer from within, from observation, from being so present that you can observe the minute shift of the casted shadow from the sun. This is the true human power. The true human power never ever needs that much. So just remember that. Remember our ancestor that enabled us to be here. This brief moment of capitalism, of whatever it is in our time, as much as we see as a doomsday's call, it just really depends on your perspective, because it's also light piercing through the darkness. And it's really about understanding in this moment what's the important value that we should hold in humanity, in order to invent with AI, with any other new technologies, the right way that serve a much longer human vision beyond borders. Right now I'm saying this, there's thoughts in my brain coming in, and it's saying, well, you could have, used a better wording, like this is not your best speech. And I think most people, we all have that. And this is the moment, to catch yourself up and catch your thoughts and be like, I'm sorry, actually, I'm doing good and I'm proud of myself. And only through action I become better. I don't just become better from thinking. And to really differentiate what we think versus who we are, for me, it's all about tapping in and spending a decent amount of time to be with myself. I hope you get to think about this topic, and hopefully it serves. And I can't wait to share with you more as I discover and understand more about what I feel the calling to share. See you next time. Bye.